It's time for the Tech Informist again. This episode of the Tech Informist was recorded on Friday, or Monday, sorry, Monday, February 23rd, 2015. If this is your first time listening or watching, you may be wondering just what is the Tech Informist? The Tech Informist is a show intended to help inform and educate listeners, such as yourself, about the latest news we find interesting in the world of technology with lively and entertaining commentary about the latest tech news. From time to time, we will also be joined by guests from the tech industry that you may be familiar from. Some people like Daniel Rubino, Phil Nickinson from the Mobile Nations team, and also other tech journalists that like to come on, and whether they're app developers and all sorts of different people. My name is Kevin Harvell. You can find me on Twitter at Kevin Harvell. JJ Hammond is also here. JJ, how are you doing today?
Mother of God. I'm doing awful. I just want our listeners to know how bad it sucks. Okay, there's three things I need in life, all right? It's pen and paper. I really don't need, anything. Pen and paper, a water heater that freaking works, all right? And water pressure to go along with the water heater. And I need, oh crap, I forgot what the other thing was. Oh, food. All right? That's the only three things that I need, all right? So I am doing... I'm the craziest person I know. So let's just get on with the show. I'll just say that.
All right.
I'm in crazy town.
Moving on. Crazy town, huh? Okay.
You're like, God, I should have just told you I'm doing the show solo today because this is just, you're too much.
All right. People can get involved with the Tech Informist by emailing whether suggestions, comments, feedback, just all sorts of great stuff to contact@thetechinformist.com. Hit us up on Twitter or Facebook, Google+, all those wonderful social media places as well. You can also watch live if you're hearing this audio version for the first time. Visit us at thetechinformist.com/live to not only be able to watch live on Monday, Wednesdays, or Fridays. You can keep up with our episode schedule of if we're going to have a time change for some strange reason, and also participate in the live chat room, which we have a handful of people in there today. Welcome, chat room. Glad to have you. We would also appreciate if you could give us a rating and review over on iTunes to help other people find us. And we're also doing a giveaway, our first official giveaway. We've talked about it on a couple of our prior episodes, but that giveaway is now live. Head over to thetechinformist.com/giveaway to find out how you can enter to win a Sensi Wi-Fi smart thermostat with an approximate retail value of $130 or $140. So find out how to get involved.
That's awesome.
That way, yes. So it's time to move into the news of the day, which the news actually this weekend was kind of slow. I mean, I know both of us were looking over, things to talk about. It's like, man, this is kind of a slow news weekend.
A little bit, yeah.
I don't know what all that's all about, but that's what it is. But we still found a few little stories to talk about, and I will go ahead and kick this off. Talking about the popular video game streaming website Twitch is launching TwitchCon, and that is going to be held in San Francisco this September 25th through the 26th. No details on pricing or when ticket availability will be open, but make sure to bookmark twitchcon.com, and it'd be interesting to see how the conference organizers do this, whether there'll be different technologies for streaming your games, or I'm sure they're going to have some gaming competitions that would just have to be one of the most obvious things that they do. But do you think going to TwitchCon would be something you'd be interested in doing, JJ?
I think I really would be. If there's one thing that I really enjoy a lot, over the weekend I was doing a lot of I like visual things, right? And especially lately because it's been bothering me a little bit. But when I see the art from World of Warcraft, and when I see some of the I can see why people get so addicted to those games because they're so visually appealing. And when you have somebody that you're watching play a game, you're like, this person was made to play video games. Have you ever seen those people? You
Yes.
know, and Twitch, that's what it's made for. You know, it's kind of a spectator sport. So it's just really, really, really cool. So yeah, I would. I actually would like to go to that, and I would like to just kind of meet some of the people and just kind of hang out and see how how do you work your thumbs out? That's what I want to know, right?
You know, how do you
Like how
prepare for your
yeah,
big
yeah,
opening
yeah.
game?
What's your preparation like for the big games? You know?
Now, do you ever sometimes just sit there and fire up a Twitch channel and watch people play, or
Um,
I mean, I've done that a few times,
Yeah,
especially
no,
when new
I'm
games
yeah,
come
yeah,
out.
yeah. I've done absolutely, and just to see what all the talk is about, because it's like the cheapest way ever to experience the game.
Yeah, I mean, you
And
can watch people
and
play
all
different
right,
levels and all that.
this story goes back a long way. But when I was in a three-story building, I was in my own room, and Ninja Gaiden was giving me
Oh,
trouble. So I threw the Xbox out the window along with the game, and it blew up on the ground. And that's our true story. And people freaked out because they had no idea what was going on. But I completely lost my mind because I'm really bad at some games, and when I'm really bad at some games, give me a hard time. I have a temper, so I just threw it right out the window. I opened up my window, I took it, I threw it out, boom, done, end of story.
well, that game, I mean, I remember it way back on the original Nintendo. They were hard back then, and then whenever they released that on the Xbox, I was like, this is insanely hard.
Yeah, this is way too hard.
Yeah, it
Like,
was one of the things that everybody talked about. I mean, beautiful. Golly, it was one of the most beautiful looking games of that generation. But
mm-hmm,
God, it was so difficult.
mm-hmm. It's that you had to flip in the air and then shoot across the screen with the blade out, like the front flip. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
The front flip jump, and you're just like front flip jump, and it was the electronic guy. It was the big fat electric guy that kept killing me. I was like, ah!
You know, I
All right.
mean, that's like me and the original Castlevania on Nintendo Entertainment System. I can play
Oh yeah.
all the way through on one life and get to, oh gosh, who is it? It's the it's whoever it is that's before Dracula, and
Yeah, Dark
kills
Side.
me every time. I've never gotten past that guy ever.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
why? How is this?
Right. Right.
Got
You know,
close.
Twitch does a lot, some of those older games too, and I really like because you get to see how they beat those games that I couldn't beat, right? Like
Hmm.
some of those the older games, like say the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, some of those games I couldn't get past or whatever, and they go back and stream some of those, so that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I mean, people that are listening to this, I'd really love to know some of your suggestions on who would be some good Twitch players to follow and check out
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
watch what they're up to. So
I know
send us some of
Paul.
those.
Yeah, I know Paul from Windows Central. I can't. His last name starts with an A. Doesn't matter. I'm terrible with that sort of thing sometimes, but he would be a good guy to follow. They do the weekend Twitch
Yeah, they
live
do
stream.
a regular Twitch
Yeah,
sessions.
yeah, that'd be cool. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so I can't remember if yeah, this is also my story. Goodness gracious.
Hey,
Haha.
yeah, if you just want to
Yeah,
go through all yours,
I can
that's
just run
fine.
through all this stuff here. So,
Yeah.
following in the footsteps of Microsoft and Google, Apple is now reportedly prepping their own ISO. Man, I'm thinking like loading images here. iOS public beta programs. So it's being rumored that Apple will be duplicating their OS X public beta program with the iOS 8.3 this spring and iOS 9 this summer. The hope reportedly is that a wider beta, beyond just the traditional developer program, will help improve software stability. So from 9to5mac.com, Apple intends to release the upcoming iOS 8.3 as a public beta via the company's existing Apple Seed program in mid-March. This release will match the third iOS 8.3 beta for developers, which is planned for a release the same week. Apple then expects to debut iOS 9 at its June Worldwide Developer Conference, with a public beta release during the summer and final release in the fall. So I think it's good. Hopefully they can get some of their little bugs ironed out so they don't have another, what was that, 8.0.1, that first update to iOS 8 that like was shutting people's phones to where they couldn't make phone calls and stuff like that. There were just some crazy bugs.
That seems to be the kind of the untalked about storyline for iOS 8, right? Was this buggy software. Um, it was really interesting to see Apple come out with something like that, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they have such a good track record for the most part with their software on, supported devices. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward. I really am looking forward to this year's WWDC.
Yeah, should be good. I mean, it's going to be interesting just to see what they do with Apple Watch and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Get that in the hands of developers and get them going.
Okay, Kevin, tell us about your little Windows.
Yeah. Well, so Microsoft has, I don't remember if we talked about it recently about Microsoft getting rid of the Rooms feature, but they're going to do a Rooms replacement called Leak, or Leak reveals a new location sharing app from Microsoft called PeopleSense.
PeopleSense, yeah.
Yeah, so PeopleSense was detailed by a Spanish site, Microsoft Place, which managed to get a short hands-on with it, seen in the video above, which this article is actually from Windows Central. And Microsoft Place notes that PeopleSense, currently codenamed Buddy Aware, will allow you to specify a group of people with which to share your location and even offer integration with third-party applications for communication and navigation purposes. The leaked build is dated on February 17th, so not too long ago, and it points to something that is under active development. Given the timing of this leak, along with the included features of the app itself, it will be interesting to see if this turns into a replacement for Rooms or not. It, I still kind of think that they should have kept the Rooms feature, but it just obviously, not enough people were using it that they felt it was worth keeping. So, I mean, this is supposed to allow users to chat and share their location with friends and family. It, I don't know, it's kind of like a Swarm or something like that to me.
Well, here's some of the things. So, one of the biggest storylines I think that is over the last couple of weeks has been Microsoft getting rid of things, and we're going to see a lot more of this stuff. Okay, it's not going to end with Rooms, but what Rooms did was it allowed people to share stuff like a Facebook Messenger or kind of like a closed group or whatever. Well, I saw Razer, they had a wearable device that was gonna that he has since come out or going to come out. And what it did was is that when you met with somebody, you kind of Bluetooth connected with that other person and you shared information. You could designate what information you shared. Well, what this looks like to me is kind of an evolution of that. Plus, I want to say it's like Quick or something like that Windows did for iOS, Android, and Windows, and it allowed the ability to share photos between specific in proximity groups, right? So instead of showing someone your phone and then someone taking your phone and looking at your photos that you took that you wanted to show somebody, you could just beam it straight over to them. And it worked a lot like kind of like a Samsung type product, okay? So one of those things that what really excited me about all this was in watching all these different storylines, I can kind of see this PeopleSense be kind of a collection of those things, meaning that if you have like a group of people, like we do from time to time, Kevin, we're a part of several different groups. If we wanted to like then meet those people and or talk with those people, we could share photos, specific information or whatever, or we could see that if we are in close proximity to each other using GPS. Hey, did you know so and so is either in the same mall or in the same place or whatever? There's different possibilities there. So this is kind of an evolution of Rooms. And again, leave it to Microsoft to be a terrible communicator when it comes to telling people hey, we're getting rid of Rooms, but we're going to be replacing it with something cooler. I think, in my opinion. that's going to be coming out soon. I think that this is what we're going to see. I think a lot of the times, for many of you, when you go to like business meetings or networking meetings, like you really wish you could share information kind of seamlessly across, and that's what this application, to me, is going to represent. And I think it's going to be cross-platform, as Microsoft staying true to their cross-platform mobile first, cloud first strategy. I think that this is going to be one of those things you just tell a group of people about, and then once everybody has the app, you can share information across, and you can pick and choose which those information you can share. So after all of that I said, Kevin, what do you have to say about that now?
Yeah, I think you're right, especially with the whole Microsoft putting it on other platforms. I think I saw something over the weekend that said Microsoft has approximately 100 apps on both iOS and Android. Whether that's combined or not, I didn't really get into the details, but there's just a number that I saw this weekend. It's like, wow, that's a lot of apps on other platforms. So
Right. Well, and I mean, this is the story for Windows 10. I mean, so Microsoft is pushing for all the platforms to make sure that they're out there and they provide good experiences. Obviously, and then we're going to see what Microsoft's answer is to people that ask, why should I use Microsoft? Why should I use Windows when you guys are putting your services everywhere else? I mean, tell me why I should use Windows.
Right.
And they have to answer that question this year.
Yeah. That is true. T-Mobile has posted an image of the edge of the Samsung Galaxy S6, which looks sort of like the Note Edge, only smaller. So we'll see probably in the next Sunday, I guess, is Samsung's big announcement.
Yeah, dude, next Sunday is HTC and Samsung.
Yeah, so a lot of stuff going to be coming out with that. I installed the Windows 10 Tech Preview on my Dell Venue 8 Pro, and some of the issues that I've had with it was just, you go to hit a text box, and on Windows 8 1, the keyboard automatically pops up. Sometimes you have to activate the keyboard to want to enable, but driver-wise, everything was working fine. The keyboard wasn't as responsive. Sometimes you go to tap on the screen to type a letter or a number, and it wouldn't register the tap. Sometimes it was just really on the top row of the keyboard. So, but there's supposed to be a new version, something like in the 10,000 number range, coming out probably. I would assume we're going to see that this week, with more and more talk about this specific build number. That number keeps popping out there. So I don't know. I went ahead and reverted back to 8.1 on my Dell Venue. I'm like, just want to be able to use the thing. So.
Raul, we're going to be talking about that here in just a moment. As far as what you just said, I think the Dell Venue 8 Pro is just one of the unsung. Like it reminds. Does it feel like to you, for Windows 8 tablets, it's the 520 of Windows 8 tablets? Does that
to a point? I mean, it's really a nice little tablet once you have things going and stuff. It gets a little warm. I think last time we tried the front-facing camera, the software on it wasn't working properly.
Yeah, it was wonky.
I mean, it showed me as like green and everything. Like, what is that?
It looked like you were in an old Predator movie,
I mean, it's a nice little device overall. I thought about selling it, but I think I'm going to hang on to it.
You know what's funny, guys? I sold my Dell Venue 8 Pro, and I told you this, Kevin. Obviously, I tell you I mean, we're thick as thieves here. But I'll tell everybody else. So I sold my Dell Venue Pro 8, and then the person literally gave it back to me. They didn't even want their money back. They just gave it back to me. So I was like, okay, I will take it back.
Exactly.
I was like, well, look at me. I just made some money off of some reason I don't understand. Anyways, so is that your stories?
That's pretty much it. Like I said, it was kind of a slow week. I mean, I can probably find some other things we can talk about, but
no.
I'd like to hear what you get. Let's talk about these LG mid-range devices.
Yeah. So here we go, guys. One of the biggest things that's been kind of frustrating to me a little bit was I feel as though when we buy a device, we're so just caught up in that device, right? Like, most of us, we just get the one device for a couple of years, and I mean, that's it, and unless you're lucky and you're able to get a five-finger discount or whatever. But my point is that it's frustrating when, say, a year and a half in, you're like, I need a screen protector, and no one sells the screen protector for that phone anymore, right? Or that device. And you're just like, you gotta be kidding me, man, because you don't want to go online. Because I went online and I got the thing. Long story short of it is, I feel like even on the top end, the top of the line phones, if it's not an iPhone, it's just kind of the Wild West out here, and it sucks because there needs to be like a dedication to the one device that makes sense. And I just had to get that off my chest because it's very frustrating when we spend so much of our hard-earned money on devices, and then that device is just kind of like, nah, like we're on to the next greatest and biggest thing. It reminds me a lot of the Best Buy commercial that was a couple of years ago where this guy's like, and the new thing, and this girl's in the audience, and she's like, but I just got this one. Yeah. So that was perfect. That encapsulated everyone's thoughts, of what was going down. So LG, now I'm going to hop into my next story, the reason why I said the other stuff. LG made a really beautiful phones. In fact, if you watch television at all, you've seen LG's advertisements still to this day for LG's G3 and how awesome it is and all this other kind of stuff. And the new the new LG flagship phone is coming very soon. It's coming very soon. So I would suggest hold off and wait, because there's going to be a lot of phones coming out very soon, and a lot of very compelling phones. Because one would argue LG is okay. They're pretty good. I mean, they're selling pretty okay phones as far as their market share goes, if you look at the latest numbers. HTC, though, they're the ones who's got to really just say, look, dude, you have to buy an HTC one because it's the best in blank, 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 blank. Like all these check boxes, right? Like battery, it's got to be good. Camera, it's got to be good. Screen, it's got to be good. It's build quality, it's got to be good. But LG, and looking at this most recent story, LG is releasing a bunch of mid-range devices at MWC. Now, the first thing that pops into my mind when I see mid-range devices is that that sick feeling that I get whenever I hear about Microsoft's new news of their new devices, and I'm just like, I swear if it has a 5 or a 6 or a 7, if it has anything other than like a 12 in front of it, I'm just gonna flip my lid, right? I mean, I know you said that before, but LG is going to be releasing the LG Magna 5-inch screen HD display. Don't tell me it's an HD display. What is that even? Is that 1200 by 720? It's stupid. 8 megapixel rear facing camera, 8 gigabytes of internal storage. No one's gonna buy that. I mean, no one listening to this show is really gonna buy it. You'll buy it for your kids or for your older folks. And LG Spirit, 4.7-inch display. Quad-core processors. They got quad-core processors. I think that kind of speaks to just every phone that's coming out. The LG Leon and the LG Joy, none of these are awesome. They're all 8 gigabytes worth of storage. The highest battery looks like it's 2,540 milliamp battery. Buttons on the back, I really, at first I was like, this is just stupid. But with their G3, man, those buttons on the back are actually kind of nice.
Yeah, that actually worked out all right, though. Buttons on the back.
Yeah, so I was really just kind of unimpressed, and I really hope that they come out with. I hope the G4 is just awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that's nice, and then I hope that they kind of take a page from HTC's book and they give me a Windows variant of that. That would be kind of nice. But if they don't, I still think that LG's G4 is going to be the phone to shoot for if your contract's up. Kevin, what do you have to say about LG?
I mean, looking at the specs on these, I'm curious to see what kind of off-contract pricing these will have. I would say they're probably, if they're above 300, especially the Magna. If it's over 300, it might as well forget it. It's like a $250 phone at the most. I think the Magna, out of all these, is probably the only one that might be worthwhile and can
Mm-hmm.
give what is it, the Moto G, a nice run for its money with things. I think it'd be a nice competitor for that device because the Moto G has been a very good seller for the price range. I think that's a sub $200 phone, so it's great for people on budgets. The Spirit Leon Enjoy, I wouldn't even. I mean, the only difference between the Magna and the Spirit is zero point 0.3 inches of a display.
Right.
Otherwise, it's the same processor, same camera, same storage, and a smaller battery. So you don't want to go with a smaller battery. You want the bigger battery.
Right.
We'll see. They're going to be bringing those to Mobile World Congress, and I'm sure we'll hear more details when they're officially announced.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing: is the front-facing camera is a big deal, and also the whole selfie stick. I swear, I'm a violent person in general, but I'd like to take one of those sticks and just edit out the next part, Kevin. No.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous. So, I get it, but at the same time I don't.
Yeah.
So, anyways, back over to something that I really, really, really am into. I think it's kind of a pipe dream for LG's G4 for Windows, but I still think that the LG, bar none, makes like the greatest Android experience on a non Nexus device. Would you agree with that?
I would say so. I mean,
Yeah.
they have a very nice interface. It's pretty clean.
I really like their mature colors.
Yeah.
That's what they call it. They call it mature colors. I really, really like it a lot. So here's the next thing that I really want to talk about, which is HTC. Now, many of our fans know of the HTC One, both the Android and Windows variant, and I think that both, yeah, that's a good story. We're going to talk about that, Raw. I think that both devices are worth buying. I know that many people are like, no, dude, the camera, it's totally bad, and blah. It works. It's not awesome. None of these phones have like iPhone 6's camera. They just don't. So once you're beyond that, you could say that Samsung has the next best thing. I would say that the 1520, which, trust me, there's only a handful of people who actually own that phone, have, and then the latter 1020. But when you talk about more mainstream devices, you've got that there. I am so excited to hear about HTC's M9. I want to know what the chat room has to say about that too. If my next phone isn't a Microsoft branded phone, would you buy the HTC M9 for Windows? I mean, I've got to think that they would, because I know I would. But here is something that I want to tell all of you. Given this story, who listen to this, given this story that's done by Engadget, the images that are shown from a German website, so this is just kind of all take with a grain of salt type thing, but it has a 2900 milliamp battery, and it's got a possible 20 megapixel rear camera and a 4 megapixel front shooter. However, there's a camera bump. Now, I have said in previous device reviews that I've done for both our site and STL Tech Talk and blah, 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 that camera bumps are bad. And the reason why they're bad is because even if you have a case on there, depending on the size of the case, that camera pushes on the screen that's in front of it. And there's an issue that I showed Kevin, that when you push on the camera bump, it messes with the screen. And it now has a permanent spot on the screen where it's kind of this weird discoloration. So when you are buying a new device, keep in mind that you should probably get a case, because you don't want to be like JJ, me, and just wreck the thing, for one thing. But the other thing too is you want to protect, every time you set that phone down, you're hitting that camera and that camera bump, and that's pushing on the screen. It's not good. So the first thing you should do is go, okay, if I'm going to get this phone, I'm going to get a case. And the case has got to protect that camera bump. And again, This looks like a gorgeous device. I'm super excited at the possibility of this device. The only thing that I would miss is like the kind of Lumia features that come on Lumias, like the apps that are specific to the device. But I think Microsoft is actually going to release those for other manufacturers. I think that there's going to be some more integration with the hardware from other manufacturers such as HTC and all these other OEMs. So Kevin, I know I said a lot, so I'd kind of like to get your ideas or thoughts on all the things that I said.
With the HTC, this new M9, looking at these renders, whether or not they're true or not, it just looks so much like the M8, but the only real difference that you see is the camera design on the back. It's square instead of circular. I'm glad that they're getting away from the ultra pixel. It just didn't.
Yeah, it didn't do well.
It just wasn't. It was its biggest shortfall.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really looking for. And other rumor that I've heard is that they're not going with the Quad HD display. So that right there in itself makes me very happy because that's going to help with that 2900 milliamp hour battery. It's going to help make it last longer. So that's because the displays are good enough without having to be Quad HD.
Yeah.
So, I mean, whether or not this is the actual final design remains to be seen. If it is the final design, that's fine with me because it's a very nice looking phone still. It's still a very nice looking phone regardless. So, really, really happy to see what we'll be talking about next Monday with things. Camera bumps.
Yeah.
It's just kind of hit and miss. I mean, I know the 1520 has a slight bump, and I know what you're saying because it can you can get the lens and stuff scratched up. I'm not a big case person, so I don't use cases. I think Rawl also mentioned he's like, I don't use cases or screen protectors either. I use screen protectors, but I'm not a case person.
Yeah, if I can get away from it, right? If I can get away from it, but oh gosh,
you just can't help yourself, JJ.
I know I can't. I have well, like I said, I'm the craziest person I know. I held a HTC One in my hand over the weekend. I had to drive my sucks. I hate having to drive long periods. Anyway, so I'm holding it in my hand. I'm looking down, and I'm like, if you weren't $669, I would totally buy you.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, I know that's like going to a jewelry store and putting on, all the stuff you want, or, a clothes store, whatever, and just being like, yeah, if I was rich, I would totally buy all this stuff, Right. But my point is that unless Microsoft shows me a phone that has curved edges, because those of you who know what I'm talking about, if you got this big phone here, these edges, they start to wear on your hand a little bit. It's not a comfortable in-hand phone, and I got to use two hands for this phone, which is fine. That's cool. I get that. But you know what I want to do, Kevin? I want to pick up my phone, and I want to use it one-handed again. I want to use my phone with just one flipping hand. That's what I want.
Yeah, well, you need to have a 5-inch display then.
But that's why I'm so excited to hear what HTC is going to be coming out with, is because I want, and I think HTC is my next go at it, because that design and the way that it feels in my hand is perfect. It's perfect. And you know what I'm talking about. Their screen for a 1080p is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean,
it's a gorgeous phone.
The one on the Xperia Z3, it's beautiful. It doesn't need Quad HD on it.
Mm-hmm. Small hands. Hey, real quick, before we go any further, our chat room did bring up this, and it was something that I saw that we've touched on it a little bit in the past, but SoftCard is, and one of our meetup group friends actually uses this on his phone to buy stuff, but SoftCard is a way to pay for things like Apple Pay, like on Windows Phone using a secure SIM in your device that it supports Bluetooth, obviously. And you can attach your bank account to it. And Google has acquired them. They're called SoftCard, formerly called ISIS, which kind of sucks for the name, right?
Yeah, bad timing.
Bad name. Well, that's not bad, but just bad timing. Yeah, you're right. So I think this is really tough because we in the community really, really, really want, this. I would like this, right? I see people using Apple Pay, and I'm just like, I'm jonesing a little bit. What do you think about
Soft
this
card
story?
works well. I mean, I've used it a handful of times at McDonald's and Walgreens as well, and it works great. And
Yeah.
it's just, you don't see any other company kind of advertise the Google Wallet experience or anything like that.
Right.
Boy,
Right.
when Apple Pay came out, companies and
Yeah.
stuff are coming out. We're compatible with Apple Pay and this and that. Use Apple Pay to pay for your purchases and like, well, I've been able to do that for quite a while
Right. Right. Well,
already.
let's talk about this real quick, and maybe you did or didn't know this. Google Wallet with soft card. They're in talks right now, and this could all change, but this is the way that they have it in place right now. They're going to allow carriers to put their own bloatware inside of the wallet experience. Did you know that?
No, that's not good.
So that's how Google is selling this to the carriers to allow them to be able to do this. This is a non-starter for me. I'm not going to use an iPhone, and it's not because I think the iPhone's bad. I think it's a gorgeous phone. I think it's perfect. I think it even worked great for me, to be honest. But I'm a masochist. I hate myself. No, I'm just kidding. But I think that there should be choice, right? For those of us who don't have an iPhone. I mean, I just think that we should have the same, ability, right? So what I would like to see is Google and Microsoft step up, and say, yo, here's what I can offer you guys in place of Apple Pay, and it's soft card or whatever experience that doesn't have this AT&T super cookie, Verizon super cookie, Sprint super cookie to where it knows every little thing that I purchase. I mean, it's bad enough the credit card companies know everything little thing that I do. You know what I'm saying, Kevin?
Yep.
So it's one of those things, and people in the chat, I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. We're getting it right now, and we really appreciate it. But I'd really like to have this, and I just think that, I get that carriers are who they are, but gosh, if Apple can do it, why can't everybody else, Kevin?
That's a very, very good question. I mean, you can get soft card preloaded on numerous devices, actually. I've seen it on plenty of review devices that have come through, you know, through the mail here. And it came preloaded on, I can't remember what it was that I actually owned that it was preloaded on. I think it was on the no, I don't think it was on the Nexus 6, but like I said, it just works really well. And I don't get the whole hubbub.
Yeah, yeah. Anyways, so those are my stories. HTC, super excited about what HTC is going to be releasing. It's going to be tough for me because I know that Microsoft's going to release something when Windows 10 comes out, and I'm going to look at the phone and be like, oh gosh. But if it's got square corners, I'm probably not going to go for it this time, just because I really like the way that HTC One M8 feels in my hand. It's the perfect size. It's
Rounded
great
corners.
screen.
That's what we need. Rounded corners.
Well,
Not sharp.
I don't want to be holding a circle, all right, guys. So don't take that too far, because I know we have a lot of sarcastic people out there. But anyways, I do want to have an. If I was going to get my next device, it's going to be an HTC It's going to be an HTC One, unless Microsoft is like, dude, we're going to have a 1080p screen, quad core, 5-inch, nice, feels nice in the hand, that sort of thing, then I'm all over it. So
I agree. Ready to move
that
into some apps and entertainment picks here?
abso-friggin-lutely.
Whoa, nice that. That's nice. So since I got this Mac, I've been using iTunes Radio a lot. And for people that don't know, iTunes Radio's free. You just, queue up some different, stations, whether it's a specific genre of music or specific artists, type in, search for it, etc. Obviously, they give you the option to buy the individual songs that are playing, but it works really good. And there's a lot of great music out there. I've been getting a lot of work done and listening to that in the background. So if you haven't already tried it, give it a whirl. And for TV, I've really been enjoying the last so many episodes of Grimm. It's on NBC on Friday evenings. Very, very good and interesting show. You know,
Hmm.
he's the main character who's actually spent some time here in St. Louis. He is he's a police detective and he's a Grimm, so which means he can only see these Vesson, and Vesson are people kind of like think of it kind of like werewolves, but they can turn in. I mean, they're just a whole different like race of people that have different. Some of them might look like uh, pigs or squirrels or lizards or something like that. It's very interesting, and I like how they've been doing with this most recent season. So if you haven't ever caught Grimm, give it a check. Check it out.
Nice. I like Grimm. Grimm's good. Um, I haven't watched this next one.
Yeah, it's good.
No, I haven't watched the next one that you have on the list here.
That I believe that's actually from Brad, we were planning on having Brad on today, but he had some technical difficulties.
Oh. Hey,
So,
Kevin, it wasn't blue. That's why.
oh, it wasn't blue. So he was talking about Better Call Saul. Now, people that are fans of Breaking Bad and stuff know that this new prequel of Breaking Bad with the character Saul is on, and I've heard it is phenomenal. I haven't had a chance to watch it because I don't know whether or not I should watch Breaking Bad first, or should I like watch Better Call Saul and then once this is over, then I can watch Breaking Bad. I don't know. I don't know. Help me figure out which way to go with this.
Hmm.
I
Are
don't
you
know.
asking?
I'm asking. I need people to tell me, should I watch Breaking Bad, just binge it, and then catch up on Better Call Saul, or would it make sense to just watch Better Call Saul and then I don't know, probably just binge watch the Breaking Bad and go
Yeah,
from
I was getting ready to say, some of the shows are kind of timely. They kind of deal with some more current things.
there.
So the more and more you don't watch a show and you kind of just get. Yeah, Brad says watch Breaking Bad first. He's
All
like
right.
in all caps. So I mean, it's okay. We heard you. Point taken, sir. Yeah, no, I could totally see myself maybe watching it. I got to take those things a little easy, because I'll binge watch a show like it's nobody's business if I'm not careful. A show that I've never watched but everybody tells me that I need to is Doctor Who. So chat room, should I watch Doctor Who or not, or should I
Yeah.
just not watch
Always
it?
hear, always hear so much about Doctor Who.
Yeah, I think it would be. I hear it's a show for geeks or whatever, but you never know. I went to a Comic-Con once, and one of the guys was there. One of the doctors was there, and people were just freaking out and saying the word TARDIS, and I was like, I don't think you should say that. I think that's a derogatory term.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, no,
It's a
no,
phone
it's
booth.
it's a phone booth, and I'm like, that makes. Did you think that was going to clear it up for me? Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're saying. Um,
It reminds me of Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That's how they travel through time, was in a phone booth.
Okay, so I'm getting yes from Vernon, yes from Brad, yes from Evan,
No
no
from
from
Raw.
Raw. Okay, all right. We love opinions here.
Yeah.
That's what we do. But that's going to be interesting. Okay, Raw. Uh, my daughter's learning history from Doctor Who. Well, that sounds like fun.
Man, guess he's like a doctor of history.
Okay, Vernon
So the
says
music app, I don't know, JJ, did you put this in here? The
I did
digitally
not.
imported radio?
I did not. I think that was Brad's.
Okay. Yeah, so there's an music, look at digitally imported radio.
Digitally imported radio. You know what? Okay, here's what I can tell our listeners not to get: Nokia Mix, or it's not Mix Radio. Boy, does that thing suck now.
I always delete that off my Windows.
Oh, it's just.
I just gone.
I kind of feel like Nokia in general, those who didn't get nabbed up from Microsoft, kind of just they hated Microsoft. Like the rest of the guys, I mean, they were just like, we really hate you, so we're gonna make the worst experiences ever. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna just take Nokia down, you know. And that's why I'm like, every time I look down at my phone and I see that Nokia there, I'm just like, oh, I wish it said Microsoft. All right, that's it. That's all I got. I do want to say this for people who are in the chat room, for people who listen later. Obviously, for people who listen later, because our numbers are great. So thank you everybody for telling your friends about us. By the way, we're gonna implement a way for us to what do they call that? Make money on our site, thetechinformist.com, to where we're looking into PayPal and we're looking into setting it up as kind of like a Patreon type thing, only just without the Patreon, right? Where if people have PayPal accounts, they can just zip us on over whatever you think's fair, whatever you think the show is worth to you, and we're going to really try that out. So we're really going to try that out, and
there'll be kickbacks.
We're going to do giveaways. We're going to do all sorts of stuff. So whatever you guys have had promise with, what's shown you guys the coolest that you guys have ever been a part of, or what you think we should implement, just let us know. Because we'd like to know, and PayPal works really well, obviously, but we're going to integrate those things into the site, as well as try to get some direct lines on maybe some stickers and also that kind of stuff. So let us know what you think. Give us some feedback on Twitter, at Tech Informist. You can find me on Twitter at JJ Hammond Music. Kevin,
yep,
do what you do.
You can always find me on Twitter at Kevin Harvell, and I'm plus Kevin Harvell on Google Plus as well. Pretty soon we'll be maybe switching the domain to just techinformist.com. Still working on the transfer of that. I got to wait on a few things from our web host to get that switched over. But either way, whether you type in thetechinformist.com or techinformist.com, that'll all be there. And I just want to remind everybody again about the giveaway of the Sensi Wi-Fi thermostat. Go to thetechinformist.com/giveaway to find out how to get involved with that. And also, what was it? Something else that I wanted to say, but oh yeah, also MS Mobile Show. If you haven't listened to the first episode with David Winfan Kimball, he was a guest with JJ and Vernon. Make sure to go to msmobileshow.com and have a listen. Have gotten a lot of great feedback on there, a lot of wonderful things. And if anybody's in the St. Louis area this coming Saturday, come on out to the Microsoft store from 10 a.m. till noon. We'll be having a Windows Phone meetup here in St. Louis. So come on out there. It's really a great time, whether or not you're a big Microsoft person or not, or just want to know what is it about these passionate Windows Phone people that just love their devices and stuff. Come see what it's all about. It's really a great time. So really looking forward to that this coming Saturday, February 28th, I believe it is, from 10 till noon Central Time at the Microsoft Store in St. Louis. So that pretty much does it for this. Thank you everybody for hopping into the chat room today. Had really great turnout today, so that's really good to see. Thank you to all of our listeners and viewers. Truly appreciate it. So from everyone here at The Tech Informist, until next time, consider yourself informed. We are out.